All right, we're going to use this opportunity while people are gathering in the room to do some just quick admin things. Thank you all for being here this morning. We're very excited that you're here participating in IGF USA 2016. We want to remind you that we don't want you to just be an audience participant. We really want you to be a participant today. We're going to have some great panel discussions. For those of you who have not been to the CSIS room before, you're going to see something of just, it's going to be fantastic. You're like, where are the breakout rooms? You're sitting in them. So what's going to happen is all the main sessions are in here, and then the walls are going to come down, and there's going to be a breakout of 1, 2, 3. You're going to choose your favorite or change between rooms, or you're going to sit in one room and watch the other on the web feed. You can do whatever you want. And then they're going to come back up. We'll have lunch out here, and then the afternoon panel discussions will happen the same way, with the last plenary being in this room, and then we're going to have a wrap-up. Because one of the key things that happens today is all of the participation that we have with you, we're going to try to capture, and we're going to take that to the International IGF in December in Guadalajara, Mexico. So keep that in mind. And one of the ways to do that is to be an active participant on social media. So we have a Twitter feed, which is hashtag IGF USA 2016. We have a Facebook feed. If you want Instagram, all up to you. But we also have a lot of creative people in this space, and one of them is our dear friend Jonathan Zook, who's realized what he calls turbo tweeting and being a turbo social media person. So we are using this opportunity to actually use you all as beta testers on a new app that he's working on. So I'm going to give Jonathan just a couple minutes to explain it, so those of you who want to participate in this have the opportunity to do that.
Thanks, Shane. Hi, I'm Jonathan Zook. For those of you who haven't met me, how many of you tweet a lot at meetings like this? And do you share my frustration that you find yourself having to cut and paste handles and hashtags from previous tweets, or you just wait until someone else says what you wanted to say and then retweet them? So I wrote a web app that was specifically designed for tweeting at meetings like this called Chirpy, which is chirp.ie. And so what it does is we've preloaded all the handles of all the speakers of each panel and all the relevant hashtags. So when you're tweeting with that tool, you can just pick them off a list instead of having to retype them. And so on the social media on Twitter, you'll see for each panel, there's a link specific to that panel, and you just click on it, there's nothing to install, and you can immediately start tweeting by just picking things off of a list and just typing the parts that are uniquely yours. So at any point, you can go to chirp.ie, there's a video and things like that, but go to these specific links that you'll see on Twitter and just give it a try, and if you see me in the hall, let me know what you think. But it should make tweeting a lot easier, and you can use your own words instead of waiting to retweet somebody else's. So that's it.
Can you mention we also have unique hashtags for each?
Oh, yes. And can I mention, this is important, there are unique hashtags for each panel, and part of the reason for that is so that it's one of the ways for remote participants to ask questions is via Twitter. So you'll also see in the Twitter feed the hashtags for each individual event as well. But if you use the chirp.ie link that's provided for each one, you'll be able to immediately start tweeting out for that event. Okay? All right.
Thank you, Jonathan, and as he said, please give him feedback. He'd be really interested to see if you found it valuable, and he's also looking to tweak it. So, as I said, we're beta testing this so we can make it better. So I don't think we're going to have the ability to play Pokemon Go in here today. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'd like to see how many points people get, but I do see 2 ambassadors. That's the kind of game we play in IGF. Hello, ambassador. Hello, ambassador. So I'm going to turn it over to David Vyorst to get the show on the road.
Thank you, Shane, and thanks everybody for coming. My name is David Vyorst, and I'm the co-chair of the IGF USA and the executive director of the Washington, D.C. chapter of the Internet Society. We're really proud of the program we've put together for you today. Thanks for coming. The Internet has been an unparalleled driver of human progress and is perhaps the greatest amplifier of human endeavor in all of history. However, many of the things we take for granted today were nearly unimaginable as short as 15 years ago. Think about it. There was no Facebook. There were no smartphones. There was no Twitter or YouTube. We rented frickin' videos from Blockbuster. We used payphones. For people under 30 who don't know what those things are, grab one of us older people. We'd be glad to explain. Just as 15 years ago, those things were unimaginable. The things that we will take for granted 15 years from now are unimaginable today. and the internet will continue to evolve in exponential and unpredictable ways. The global infrastructure that makes it possible for anyone to connect to anyone anywhere in the world at any time without interference will necessarily and increasingly collide with the geopolitical framework based on the nation state and international institutions defined in the 1940s. As we strive to connect the next billions, multi-stakeholder institutions nimble enough to facilitate this growth will need to evolve from forums like this. We can already see fragmentary pressures stemming from the calls for internet sovereignty, data localization, and other national and geopolitical forces. Yet we all understand that multi-stakeholder cooperation is the key to progress. Our job at the IGF, as well as in multi-stakeholder forums around the world, is to maintain a more informed discourse that produces a continuously more enlightened consensus on the future of the internet. There's a lot of bad policy out there waiting to become real. It's our job to provide solutions. Today we're going to discuss privacy and security, increasing access to the internet, human rights, online, the future of internet governance, the Internet of Things, digital trade, and broadband competition, and we will do this with some of the leading thinkers in the world. These sessions will feed into the global IGF, where stakeholders from around the world will convene to forge many paths forward. There's way too many people to thank for everything that took to make today, but I'd like to start by thanking my esteemed co-chair, Shane. Thank you. I'd also like to particularly thank our sponsors, without whose generous support we wouldn't be able to do this. I'd like to thank our organizing and steering committees. I'd like to thank our web team, our video team, and all the other people who worked so hard to make this happen. So before I talk too long, I'm going to introduce our first keynote speaker. Many people in the internet field throw around the word guru like it was some cheap currency. However, our first keynote is the real thing. His work as director of the Internet Science and Technology Research at the Tews Center is globally acclaimed. Under his leadership, the center has issued more than 500 reports based on its surveys that examines people's online activities and the internet's role in their lives. He also directs the center's new initiative on the intersection of science and technology. The American Sociological Association gave Lee Rainey its award for excellence in the reporting on social issues in 2014 and described his work as the most authoritative source of reliable data on the use and impact of the internet and mobile connectivity. When I spoke with Lee, he told me it was an honor to speak at the IGF USA. I told him I think he had that backwards. It's an honor for us to have Lee keynote and open up our conference today. So without further ado, I'm very proud to present our opening keynote speaker, Mr. Lee Rainey.